Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're listening from. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. This is Ramadan Radio 87.9 FM. We are online, ramadanradio.org, and live on Facebook and YouTube. And you are listening to the Mindset Show with your host, coach and trainer of NLP and hypnosis, Mubashir Latif. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. We begin in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we bear witness that there is none other worthy of worship other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the last and final messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And we make dua that may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep us on the straight path, the Sirat al-Mustaqim, and give us the better in this life and in the hereafter, inshallah. Ameen. My dear sisters and brothers, other mothers, wherever you are listening from, regardless of whatever your faith, culture, background, even if you're not Muslim, we are in the blessed last 10 days of this month of Ramadan, this month of fasting, right? And a lot of Muslims, or most Muslims, have been fasting around the world for this whole month, and we've got maybe a few days to go. So we've got maybe 4 or 5 days to go, right? Give or take, including today. What is this month about? This month, what has it been? It's passed very, very quickly. And it's about where we go through a period of training, a period of development, a period of where we take out it's like when you're riding a bike, right? When you're learning to ride a bike either yourself, or you see the children learning to ride a bike with stabilizers, and you take off the stabilizers for a while and you have them learning, and you have them trying to ride without the stabilizers, right? Or you can say it's like, well, actually, on the other hand, it's like giving the extra support and the extra push. So you've taken off the stabilizers and you're giving that extra push to help you ride that bike, to help you keep going. And then you help the child, and the child can keep going. And this is what Ramadan is. Ramadan is that extra push, is that going forward. Rather than staying where you are, it is that going forward. It isn't about, because life is not about staying where you are, right? Life is not about, because if life was about staying where you are, if in human nature, it was our nature to stay where we are, then we wouldn't have this technology that we have today. We wouldn't have these phones, the laptop, Zoom, Facebook, or whatever else you can think of, or YouTube, or whatever else we have. We wouldn't have the clothes that we have. We wouldn't have the houses, the cars, right? Because then there wouldn't have been no progress. There wouldn't have been no advancement. There wouldn't have been no, development. But there has been. And this is what makes it amazing. This is what makes it great, right? And this is where we are. This is what life is about. It's about moving forward, slowly but surely moving forward. So what are we talking about today? We are talking about, because these shows have been about mindset. So we are today talking about what is coaching and what it isn't, right? And why we need it. Why do you need coaching, right? Because a lot of people might think, well, actually, I don't need it. I don't need coaching, right? And that's all great. That's all great if you don't need coaching. But do you know what it is a question. How many of you really know what it is, right? And a lot of people don't know what coaching is. And that's where we're going to be looking at today, the differences of what is coaching and what isn't coaching, right? So what is coaching? Coaching versus therapy? Because a lot of people think, well, coaching is just therapy, you're helping someone with their problems. And my dear listeners, my dear viewers, my dear sisters and brothers, other mothers, if you have any questions around coaching, please WhatsApp them on 077 614 60614, right? And that number once again, 077 614 60614. So is coaching the same as therapy? Is therapy the same as coaching? Is there a difference between coaching and therapy? Because a lot of people get mixed up and think, well, you're helping someone with their problems, you're helping them, overcome the issues and challenges, or etc. So it's just therapy, it's just counseling. But is it? What is the main difference, the significant difference? Therapy, therapy and counseling is where you're going into a lot more detail of the past and the current present, right? So the past or whatever's happened, and you're spending a lot of time on who did what. It was my mother, it was my father, my husband, my wife, my children, my siblings, my partner, my teacher, my boss, the dog next door who ate my homework, whatever else, reasons or excuses or whatever else you want to point to, whatever else has happened in your life. Excuse me. And you talk about that, you open up and you offload. And the more you discuss it, and then you go into other areas where you've never discussed before with you've never told anyone ever, you're telling the therapist. You're telling the therapist, you're telling the counselor of all of these issues, and you're opening up slowly, slowly. And I've read in forums over the years, and I've even had therapists tell me themselves, a lot of people are in therapy not just weeks, but months, even years. Even years they are having therapy for the similar issues, right? And it has its impact. It has its benefit. It's readily available on the NHS in the UK, right? So it's available for free. And a lot of other organizations will run, and charities will run free sessions. And that's fine, and that's okay. Yeah, what are you doing with that? You're offloading, you're letting out, you're discussing things, and whatever's happened in the past, whatever difficulties, whatever struggles, whatever negativity, whatever conflict, whatever relationship issues, health issues, money issues, finance issues, right? Spiritual issues, mental health issues, whatever issues you have, you can discuss that with your therapist. Dependent on if they have a limitation of certain things they might deal with, they might not address every kind of issue. So then you might have to see a therapist specifically for those certain issues. So if it's relationship issues, marital issues, if it's, for example, youth counselor for the youth, and etc. For different issues, you may have, different therapists who've branched out into different areas, right? Which is fine, and you just need to find your therapist that is right for you. And that's great. That's fantastic. And that is so, so powerful. And so many people turn their lives around with that. So many people gain a lot of benefit from that. So many people are, they go through therapy for months or for years, and they have so much relief, and they are so relieved and glad that they went through therapy because it really helped them to talk. And that's all you need sometimes. You just need a professional or an expert who's not gonna, judge you, who's not gonna be biased towards you, who's not gonna point fingers at you, who's not gonna say anything towards you, right? And then they are going to just listen and acknowledge and help you just understand your thoughts and unravel them. And that's fantastic because it's someone you don't know, someone who doesn't know your family or friends or relatives or your community, possibly. And you can, even now, there's so many people who do it online. So you can even go online and you will work with them. And so you can do it from the comfort of your own home, the sessions, without having all that travel time, without getting up, getting ready. You can do them in your PJs. Fantastic. Excellent. Great result. However, there is a fine, clear-cut line, not just a fine line, but a clear-cut line between coaching and therapy. Therapists, counselors are not coaches, and coaches are not therapists and counselors. So if you have had some therapists may have trained also as a coach. Some coaches may have had a therapy background or trained in therapy either before or after or even during their coaching training. But always find out, because not necessarily has your coach any therapy background, and not necessarily has your therapist or your counselor any coaching background. And both of them may have some understanding of some basics. But in order to go deep in any of those areas, because they are two different areas, one would require training, one would require in-depth understanding. What is coaching, you ask? Coaching is where you are more solution focused, you are more goal oriented, you are more looking towards the future. You're not dwelling and you're not spending weeks and months and years on the past and who did what and what I should have done, what I could have done, what I would have done. You are now spending time going forward of what do I now need to do? What is it that I need to do going forward? What is it that I can, where is it that I am right now, regardless of whatever's happened in the past, and it's now going forward, what do I now need to do? What do I now need to do going forward? What do I now need to do turning things around? What do I now need to do focused on the future? What do I now need to do to turn my life around? What do I now need to do to learn from what I've gone through, learn from all the negativity and the difficulty and the struggles and the adversity that I've gone through? Might be trauma, might be relationship issues, might be financial loss, right? Might be whatever it is. And the counselor or the therapist or the coach, they won't give you financial information because they're not financially trained unless they are specifically financially trained and accredited. They won't give you financial information, but what they can do is help you with, again, basic understanding of how, if you needed that help in that area, if they were a specialist in that area, absolute basic, but not any general financial information, right? They'll advise you to go to a financial advisor or financial expert if you had financial difficulties. There's different types of coaches. You get a health coach, you get a health and wellness coach, you get a personal development coach, you get an executive coach, you get a life coach, you get a business coach, right? You get a spiritual coach, you get a nutritional coach, you get a physical exercise coach, you get all kinds of other coaches. Many different kinds, just like you get many different kinds of therapists and counselors who specialize in certain areas. Some might specialize in youth, some specialize in relationships, some specialize in addictions, some specialize in marital relations, some specialize in health therapy, or different kinds of therapists and counselors. Some might be in children, right? And you get all different kinds, because it's not a one stop for all, right? So always find out who your therapist, and depending on what you need at that time, or your coach. So a therapist looks at more about what happened in the past and more about what's happening right now, whereas a coach looks at more at what's happening now and about how to go forward, and helps you to holds you accountable and responsible towards your goals, helps you build that responsibility, build that self-accountability, build tools and mechanisms and strategies and techniques to overcome and work towards that towards the future, right? To gain clarity of achieving that and help you on that path to achieving your goals. This is a significant difference between coaching and therapy, right? And so coaching is not counseling. Unless a coach is trained in counseling or therapy and they tell you it's therapy, it isn't, right? Coaching is not therapy. Coaching doesn't help you to overcome, it can aid in helping you overcome mental health issues and major mental health issues, but it doesn't, in majority of the case, it doesn't, right? Coaching doesn't help you in that manner. Coaching helps you to go forward with that wherever you are. So for coaching, if you've got major mental health issues, you will need to see them first through with a therapist, and then you can go through with coaching. Right? Then you are ready to see a coach. You can't just automatically get on and see a coach. If you have major mental health issues and so forth, then you need to see a therapist, a psychotherapist, counselor who is trained in those areas. A coach will help you go forward from wherever you are. It will help you gain clarity, or rather he or she, not it, but he or she will help you gain clarity on your thoughts, your dreams, your visions, your passions, your wish, and all of the things that you term as a goal, which are not actually as a goal, because they are just a thought, just a concept, just I wish I had that. I wish I could do that, right? That's just a wish, a desire, a passion, and so forth. Whereas a coach will help you gain clarity, help you bring it out from your head and out onto paper, out into reality, and make it and help you to bring it to a tangible state where you can actually see the results, see what you're doing, see what you're working towards, right? So that's what a coach is. So why do we need a coach? Why then, you may ask, okay, do I need a coach? You probably will wonder, well, actually, why do I need a coach, right? Because then, I can just carry on doing what I'm doing. But can you really carry on doing what you're doing, right? You've got to ask yourself that, can you really just carry on doing what you're doing in order to get where you are? Well, then the question may arise, how long have you had that situation? How long have you been there? How long have you tried to do that, right? How long have you tried to achieve that? How long have you been trying to do that on yourself, in your daily life, but you haven't succeeded? So you do need a coach. The coach will help you get out of your head, because you have all those thoughts inside. The coach will help you transform and transition from your dreams, wishes, desires, passion towards actual tangible results, right? And the coach will ask you questions. The coach will ask you a lot more questions than what a therapist will ask you. The coach will ask you questions to help you realize, because the coach can give you the advice. The coach can tell you what they think you need to do. The coach can tell you what options they think you have. But from where the coach is sitting and where the coach sees things, they will see a certain thing and a certain perception, right? But from where you're sitting, those options that the coach may offer may not be feasible for you, because it's part of the puzzle that the coach can't see. So rather than saying and advising and saying, this is what you need to do, this is where you need to go, this is how you need to do it, the coach will help you realize what you need to do. It is all about you realizing what you need to do, because only when you realize what you need to do and when you become aware of it, then you are ready to do it. Right? If you do not realize what you need to do, or it comes from someone else, it won't hold so much value. It won't hold so much weight. But if you realize yourself that this is what I need to do, this is a realization I need to have, these are the limiting beliefs that I've been holding on to for many, many years, and I saw it just from this perception, this perspective, I saw it just from this point of view. But now the coach has helped you by asking you specific questions. And yes, the coach can lead and direct you towards a certain direction, but it's by asking you the questions and by letting you realize. Because it's only when you have that realization and that awareness that you think, oh my gosh, these were my thoughts, or this is what I had been doing for so long and I didn't realize. Or no one has ever asked me that question. Or, what I'm telling you today, I've never ever told that to anyone. I've had therapists, I've had counselors, I've had counselors, but this is the first time ever. I've had therapists and counselors, and now I've had a coach, or I've had a few coaches, and now I've come to yourself, and I've realized this is the first time ever I've actually had this realization. Oh my gosh. Right? This is what the coach does. The coach creates a safe space, right, where the client can have realizations and really slow down and focus on their thoughts. Because life is always a rush. For majority of people, life is always a rush. With family, with children, with house stuff, with work, with chores, with this, with that, with family, with relatives, etc., etc. But when do you actually ever take time for you? When do you actually ever take time for yourself? Ask yourself that question, right? When do you take time for yourself? Most people, the answer is never. Most people, the answer is, I've never thought of that, or I've never put myself first, because I always want to help others. I always want to make a difference to others, or I'm busy with my kids, I'm busy with my husband or my wife or my family or my children or my work, or etc., anything and everything. But when do you spend time for yourself? When do you give time to the one you see in the mirror? Ask yourself those questions. Paramount. And then you look at, and the coach will ask you many, many questions. Sometimes some sessions may be fewer questions, some sessions may be more questions, but the questions are to help you look at things from a different perspective. So the coach will see things, but the coach will ask you then questions to allow you to realize. And once you have the realization, then you make that decision yourself. So the coach will not make any decisions for you. The coach will not tell you what you must and must not do, right? Yes, there are techniques and there are strategies of how the coach can give advice. If the coach sees, or if you as a client, you are stuck, or you feel like, I don't know, or you can't think anymore, or I can't think of an answer, or I don't know how that will impact, or what impact that will have, or I don't know what other options I can have. The coach can then seek permission. So anytime the coach feels that they need to give any advice or tips, not to say this is what you need to do, but rather seek permission from the client and say, would it be okay if I shared a few tips? Would it be okay if I shared a few other possible outcomes? And you can see whatever works for you. I've had this many times with my clients, right? I've sought their permission. I've asked them that question. Would it be okay if I shared a few tips or advice or other possible outcomes from where I'm sitting? Yeah, fine, go ahead. So you share them A, B, C, right? 3, 4, a few examples or outcomes. Sometimes a client will say, oh, thank you. Yes, that one works fine. That one or two work fine or possible, but the others are not. I like those and I'll go with those. And other times, clients have said to me, no, none of them will work. Okay, not a problem. Because I'm not here to tell you, I'm not here to decide for you. As a coach, you do not decide for the client. You do not tell them which option is best for them. You allow them to decide and you support them along the way, right? And if you see that, a certain decision may not be good for them, you can highlight and say, well, actually, I think that there might be certain things that may not be, there may be some factors you need to consider here. Or would it be okay to share some factors which I think may not have been considered whilst you, and if you can, they say yes, which most likely they will, then you can share them. And if they benefit, fair enough. And if the client still says, okay, I'm still going to go ahead with it, that's fine. But just like the therapist and the counselor or the coach, all information is confidential and so forth. Yet, unless there's a major issue, unless they are at a risk to themselves or to someone else, then you highlight and say, well, look, there is a potential danger here, then please, as I've said, I will have to disclose information, or I will have to tell a third party only because there's a major danger here or a risk here with your decision that you're going to do is going to cause you harm or cause someone else harm. Majority of clients who see a therapist or a counselor are not in that area, yet there are some. More so with therapists and counselors because they see those that are with have mental health issues. But at the same time, not necessarily they see someone with mental health issues. You could go to someone who, if you're just having, you're feeling down, or you're, excuse me, or you're just having some tough times in your marriage, for example, it doesn't mean you have mental health issues. Yeah, if you do, there's nothing wrong with them. And the coach, on the other hand, has much far fewer clients who may be potentially in a position to cause any risk to themselves or to any others. Most likely, coaching clients are those that are looking to move forward, those that are now, they've had whatever therapy they needed beforehand, and now they are ready to have coaching. There are some similarities, there is some overlap, yet they are a lot of differences, right? And there are times when you need a therapist, excuse me, or counselor, and there are times when you need a coach. The therapist may even say, well, look, you've now progressed, or you've got to this stage, or you've worked on XYZ issue, you now you need to see a coach because I don't work with this. I don't work with goals, etc. and so forth. And on the other hand, a coach may say, well, hang on a sec, you are not ready yet right now to be moving forward in such a way. You need to be seeing a therapist or a counselor. You need to see them first. Once you've gone through that process, then you can come back and see a coach. Yeah, these are the more better and preferred ways. And generally speaking, these are what, mainstream coaches and therapists do, because it's not one person out there cannot deal with any and every issue and any and every type of issue or challenge or obstacle. So as a coach, we help clients move forward. As a coach, we help them gain clarity in their goals, and we bring their dreams out from their mind out to the forefront onto paper, onto something tangible, right? And that they look at and they focus on. And one of the things I have my clients do is produce a vision board, which allows them to visualize constantly what they want to focus on. A coach also allows a client to be held accountable and responsible, because maybe this is the first time ever in their adult life they've actually been held accountable in that way, that you are responsible for your results. If you are coming session after session and you're saying, I'm not getting any results, what are you doing about it? What is the constant daily action that you are taking towards your goals, right? What are you constantly doing? So if you are stuck in your life, if you feel that you can't move forward, if you feel that you've done everything you can and your life is still not moving forward, as long as you don't need therapy or counseling, then you can seek out a coach, right? You can seek out a coach, and a coach will help you to move forward. A coach will help you gain clarity and focus on your dreams, to transition your dreams into goals. A coach will hold you accountable and responsible. A coach will not tell you what to do, but will be honest and open, and will be brutally honest and open. And sometimes you may not like what the coach will say. Obviously, they will say it in an ethical manner, yet you will not like what the coach will say because they will be honest and open. Yet the coach isn't there to be your friend. Right? The coach is there to help you move forward and help you see things that you can't see, help you see the roadblocks that you can't see, help you see the blind spots that you can't see. Yeah, that's what the coach is there for. Just like when you're driving, when you are driving, you have your rear view mirror and your two side mirrors, right? And that allows you to see the view, the blind spots that you can't see. This is your coach. Whilst you're looking forward, you can't turn your head back. That's why you have a rear view mirror and the side mirrors. And that's what the coach does. The coach helps you look, see what's behind you and dangers, and helps you go forward as well, right? And helps you look into the side mirrors at the blind spots that you can't see whenever you need to overtake or move forward, or if there's a vehicle overtaking, or if there's and so forth. Similarly, in life, you will need to help someone to help you see the blind spots, because you can't see everything. You can't see all the views. You can't see wherever, there are things that you're going to miss because you're only seeing things from your perspective. A lot of the time I'll say to my clients, rather than saying, hi, how you doing? I ask them, hi, how is your world? How is your world? Because your world is different to my world. We are in the same physical planet. We're all on planet Earth. Yeah, your perception of the thing. So if two people are walking down the street, two friends or relatives or whoever, walking down the street, they both are subjected to the same things, the same traffic, the same shops, the same weather, the same whatever else. Yet they both have a different perception of what they see. And that perception you have through your five senses, through what you see, what you hear, what you feel, what you touch, what you smell, what you taste, and what you say to yourself inside your inner dialogue, right? And your inner dialogue, whatever you say to yourself, your inner voices is as a result of what you perceive and how you perceive things. And then from coaching, we know from the world of coaching that there are different filters. And those different filters of how you filter the information are you delete some information, right? So sometimes we'll have the information, but we'll only have part of the answer. Or we have it, but we think we know what someone has said, but we've said something else. And that's a distortion. Or we've generalized. So deletion, distortion, generalization. You will then generalize information, and you might have a stereotypical view of something or certain something, and you might, for example, say they are always like this, or they always say this about me, or they always think that about me, or they always say that, or they always respond in that way. Yeah, that's a generalization. How many of us have those generalizations about small things, day-to-day things? And not just generalization, we have deletion and distortion. So these are our filters. And then you have a few other filters as well of how you filter that information. So two people walking down the street are subjected to the same information, the same colors, the same noise, the same feeling, or not the same feeling, but the same, atmosphere, the same environment, the same weather, the same temperature, the same traffic, the same shops. Everything is the same that they are subjected to, yet they perceive it differently. And that's what makes things different, right? That you perceive things differently. And when you perceive things differently, you have a different take on them. And that builds your perception. So I say to my clients, how is your world? Because your world is different to my world. And every single person's world is different to every other person's world. No two people will perceive the same thing in the same way. You might think you do, and you might perceive it in a similar way, but no two people will perceive it the same way. So this is another role of the coach to help you gain clarity, because we have all those thoughts and inside our head, those thoughts and the things we want to do and emotions and feelings, etc. But then it's all spaghetti bolognese inside your head. It's all spaghetti bolognese because it is all mixed up, right? It's mixed up with the good, the bad, the ugly, the whatever, the past, the present, the future. And sometimes you're confused of where you're, with the pandemic that we've had over this year or so. A lot of people, and I found myself as well, and sometimes you can have a good laugh about this and you think, what year are we in? Are we in 2020 or 2021? Right? Where did the year go? Sometimes you might think, what month are you in? Right? Because you're just caught up in your thoughts, and that's okay. But this is the role of the coach. The coach helps you gain clarity, helps you gain focus, helps you to be more solution focused, more future forward focused, holds you responsible and accountable towards your goals. Because if you are not responsible, if you are not accountable, then you'll do things as and when, which you may have been doing for many, many years. So if you feel stuck, if you feel that you've got a loss of motivation, if you feel you've got a loss of confidence, if you feel you've got, you haven't got clarity, if you feel you've got limiting beliefs holding you back, if you feel you've got negative emotions and emotional baggage holding you back, then ask yourself, what am I doing about this? How am I moving forward? Right? Am I even moving forward? Because human beings were not made to just stay in one place. Human beings were not made to stay in one place. Human beings were made to keep constantly moving forward, constantly evolving, constantly developing, constantly progressing, constantly learning, constantly building, constantly advancing. Yes, there are times when you need to slow down. You need to slow down with your thoughts. You need to slow down and be content with what you have. But at the same time, you're constantly still moving forward. But ask yourself, are you passively just listening? Are you passively just going through life? Are you passively just going through the motions? Are you passively just, absorbing whatever the world throws at you? Are you passively just going through life? Or are you consciously going through life and saying, well, you know what, whatever mistakes I made, whatever negativity happened, right? And we sometimes sit there and blame and dwell on the past of who did what, or what happened, and what you could have done, what you should have done, what you would have done or not done. But what we don't look at is, well, whatever has happened has happened, and we can't change what has happened. The only thing you can do about what has happened is you can learn from it. The only thing you can do is you can take lessons from it, because no one can time travel. No one can go back and change time. No one can go back and fix that mistake. The only way you can fix, quote unquote, fix a mistake, the only way you can, quote unquote, go back in time and fix the past is how you're going forward. Because if you're constantly living in the past, if you're constantly dwelling and playing in your mind those movies of what happened, and with the sound, so you are now the director of that film, the director of your past life, of whatever life has passed, right? I don't mean a different life like you were born again and you're born again, not those lives, but your life that has passed and all those years that have passed. If you are now a director of your life in your mind, and you are watching that over and over again, playing it back and forth, back and forth. You're playing it constantly, day in, day out. You're listening to the sounds, listening to the voices, listening to the dialogue, and now you picture and imagine what you could have said, what you would have said, what you should have said, or what you wished you had said or done. And you are watching that film, you're a director, you're moving around and you're looking at it from different perspectives. You're moving around, looking at it from different viewpoints, different person's viewpoints. from all around the different sides, different angles, from a bird's eye view, and you keep playing it over and over again. I wish I had done this. I wish I could have done this. I wish I had said this. What is the use of that? What is the purpose of that? What is the benefit of that? Yes, you can go back. The only benefit of that, the only purpose of that, the only useful thing or reasoning you can take of doing that constantly in your life are the lessons to analyze and take. Right, these are the mistakes that I made. I'm not responsible for what he does, for what she does, for what they do. I'm not responsible for them. I'm not responsible for their reactions. I'm not responsible for how they respond. I'm only and only responsible for my actions. I'm only responsible for how I respond. And whatever has happened in the past, what are the lessons I can take going forward? And when I have those lessons, then I can go forward. And when I have clarity in how to go forward and going forward, then I can go forward. And when I am held accountable and responsible, then I can go forward. And when even if I don't know every action and every step to take, as long as I take the first next step and take one step, then another step, one step at a time. As the saying goes, a quote says, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Begins with a single step. And this is what a coach does. A coach helps you move forward one step at a time. The first step, if you're going to think that the first step is going to be on the top step and without any mistakes, without any whatever, and you look at all of these other companies or businesses or successful people, whatever area you want to be successful in and turn your life around in, and you think, well, look at where they are. But I guarantee you, goes without saying, without me having to go ask them, and I guarantee you they have made many mistakes on their way to where they are right now. And even now, they are probably making mistakes, right? But we can't see that. You can't see that. You can't see the mistakes they're making right now because you see that, oh, they are at such an amazing place. They do really, really well, right? But they made a lot of mistakes on the way and they've learned from them. That is the difference. A lot of people, most people will make mistakes and they will stay down. But the people who are successful, who achieve things, are those that get up in any area, be it business, be it politics, be it history, be it sports, right? Be it the religious person, be it the academic person, be it the engineer, be it the scientist, whoever you look at, whoever you think about that for you is successful in any field, they have made many, many mistakes on the way. Many, many mistakes, many, many quote unquote failures. But they are not failures because they haven't given up. That's the difference. Most people give up on their goals or their dreams. But the few that are successful are those that keep going. And that's what your coach will help you do. So if you need a coach, if you feel you need a coach, then please, please reach out. Right, reach out to myself and from Facebook. But this is why you need a coach, right? And on that note, my dear listeners, my dear sisters and brothers of other mothers, we have come towards the end of the show. And I trust that you have found this beneficial. Yet at the same time, do know and understand that if we are not moving forward in our life, if you are not moving forward, it is only because of your daily actions that you are taking or not taking. And if you need help with that, because it seems like if it seems like you've been in that position and stuck in a rut and stuck at that point of moving forward for many, many years, then that's when you need a coach. You need a coach, right? And as long as you are willing to invest time and money, because everything requires a sacrifice, everything requires some sort of sacrifice. To be lazy and procrastinate requires sacrifice of hard work and effort to bring you that success. And to be successful requires sacrifice of sitting around, right? So, my dear listeners, my dear sisters and brothers, other mothers, Jazakallahu khairan. You have been listening to the Mindset Show with your host, coach, and trainer of NLP and hypnosis, Mubashir Latif, on Ramadan Radio 87.9 FM, RamadanRadio.org, live on Facebook and YouTube. And I trust that you found this beneficial and that as a result, hence, Ramadan is that period to help you go forward and to propel you for the year to come. And that's where you need a coach to help support you. And on that note, my dear listeners, thank you so much. Take care. And if I don't see you again, as it's possibly Eid next week, Eid Mubarak to you and your families. Take care. God bless. Peace and love to your families. Assalamu alaikum.